Okay, so this is gonna be interesting. See how this comes out and decide whether or not I actually want to post this. This is gonna be moderately experienced driver drives Assetto Corsa and completely fucking fails. So I don't mean this as a review of any sort of Assetto Corsa, but I've been dicking with it for like the last few days, and I've just been trying to come to grips with the physics. Because everybody talks about how the physics are, really, really amazing, and they're like, supposed to be fantastic and everything like that. But you know what? I'm not sure if I really believe that, because I try to tiptoe through this game. I've got ABS on. I don't have any other assists. I don't have any of the other, like traction control or any of that doohickery stuff on. But it's amazing to me, like, how difficult this game is, to the point to where I'm sitting here going, I'm pretty sure I would not have this much difficulty wrangling around the real car around the track. Like, I have difficulties just tiptoeing around a lap. And I mean, I'm not pushing at all. I'm trying to push, I'm trying to get a decent lap time, but like, I am driving what I consider very slow. And I'm still getting bitten quite badly. Like, the brakes are just unbelievable, like how touchy they are, to the point to where, I've got my pedals turned down pretty far, and this car just, it bites me in the ass, especially on this upcoming corner right here. Matt Silverstone driving the Lotus 211, and this corner is quite literally my kryptonite. I'm like, I don't think I would have anywhere near as much trouble getting this car around the track in real life as I do in this game. It's tough. I'm not necessarily saying it's unrealistic, but it's like, at some point, the weight transfer is a little on the ridiculous side. Despite being very, very careful, very, very, like, trying to be slow, like trying to be very easy on the throttle, easy on the brakes. Much, much easier than I would be in, say, the real car. And I'm just, it's just not doing it, man. It's like, this is, what you're seeing now is me after several very frustrating laps trying to get the whole field of this down. No, don't do it. Oh, man. Oh, no. You bitch. I remember hearing that this car was on the understeery side, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. It's very oversteery on corner entry, and I don't really understand why. It should technically be understeery, as a whole, because that's what Lotus Elises are, Lotuses of this type are known for, being slightly understeery. But I don't feel that at all. I guess I'm just not driving hard enough. But when I drive hard enough, I end up oversteering and fucking spinning off the corner like crazy. And I have to brake so early, because if I brake late, I gotta get in the brake so hard that I end up spinning out, and then I end up completely botching the lap. Kind of angers me, to be honest, because I'm like, man, I've done laps around racetracks before in cars that are much more pedestrian than this. Cars that you know, are not set up very well. Hell, a fucking 4-door family car boat that I had, well, I had a Toyota Chaser. That's a big car. And I used to never get this sort of like, just snappiness, just absolute, like, pain in the ass. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad handling car, but it's just like the snappiness of everything on like brakes, throttle application, everything is just, it's ridiculous. Maybe it's just I'm just not used to like a good simulation. Maybe I'm off, but it's like a sim is supposed to sort of reflect real life, right? But I don't really feel that. It feels to me like it's just overly because if I try to drive like I would drive something like this in real life, I crash. You know, and that seems weird to me that, you know, usually in a sim you can push harder because of the fact that, well, you know, if you crash, you're not as afraid of it. But just the reactions, it's like, man, I have to be so unbelievably, like, tippy-toe, like, just very, very smooth. Way smoother than I would have to be in a real car. And, you know, it makes it to where I feel like I can't actually aggressively go after anything. I can't push. So, I don't know. I guess it's just a big learning curve. I have to get used to it, but man, this is a hard game. It's really hard. And I don't necessarily equate hardness with realism, but at the same time, I know how something like this, you know, should feel, you know, like a real life perspective. I mean, I've done quite a few laps around some famous racetracks in a few different types of cars. And I have a good idea of like what feels, you know, right and what doesn't. I'm kind of on the fence because I don't think this car would be this hard to drive around this track in real life. Right? I really don't. You know, I mean, I understand the Sims. You know, they want to make it apparent that you can't just, you know, hook yourself through every corner and be fine. But at the same time, there is a point to where, you know, where it's just, there's a fine line between, you know, something being realistic or something just being unrealistically hard. And I'm having a very difficult time turning any sort of decent lap time in this car.
that's enough for right now.